Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I'm Adam Nicholas from WhatCulture.
And don't forget, if you want to listen to the news as a podcast when you're out and about, you can do so by searching for WhatCulture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from. But Adam Nicholas, what have we got coming up today?
The morale in WWE is very high at the moment, we're being told.
Rumours of a potential women's roster return at the Royal Rumble.
Lance Archer's being courted by AEW.
All the latest on last night's episode of AEW Dynamite.
And of course, all the latest on everything that happened on last night's episode of WWE's NXT.
But we start with a surreal story. I really don't know how to take this. I'll just read it, I suppose, and you can make your own decisions.
That's the best way to do it. Go forward and then see what happens.
So, recently, of course, The Rock's father, Rocky Johnson, a legend of the industry, unfortunately passed away. It was Rocky Johnson's funeral, and Vince McMahon and Pat Patterson have been accused of being drunk and disorderly behaviour at Rocky Johnson's funeral. Harry Smith accused Vince, saying that he said, Rocky Johnson was a great wrestler, but the greatest thing he ever did was marry Atta, and Atta had some kids. And other sources reported, though, that Johnson's family wasn't offended by this behaviour. So it's difficult to judge this. On the one hand, it may be sort of a joke, all a little joke within the boys, and Vince is trying to lighten the mood at a very somber time, of course. And Rocky Johnson's family have said that they are not offended by the behaviour. But then again, this is Vince McMahon.
This is indeed Vince McMahon.
It's, you know, it probably behooves to yourself to stay on his good side, weirdly, or not throw him under the bus or anything. So I don't really know how to take this, because if it's difficult when you just read it. It sounds terrible.
Literally on paper, you could probably perceive that as being not a great thing. Let's be honest, if someone wandered into my dad's funeral and started saying the only good thing he did was have sex with me mum and then give birth to me, well, he'd be absolutely right. So that's fair enough. I don't know. Seriously though, I think.
But when you're Rocky Johnson,
I think the thing here is we don't know the relationship between Vince and the Johnsons in general. We don't know what that's like. Also, we don't really know the tone. We weren't there.
No.
Yes, some wrestlers may have been offended by it, but I guess the one person who you might find out from might maybe be with The Rock. If he takes this in a jovial kind of fashion, then I guess not that all will be forgiven, but only Vince McMahon could wander into someone's funeral and pull off something like this and come out and everyone going, hey, what a guy. What a guy.
Like I said, it could all be all fun and games and all just, you know, a nice way of lightening the mood. Or he's surrounded by so many yes men that he says this and they go, yeah, I think it's a really good line, that, actually.
Like they're all like, there's little
hey guys,
tears and a little,
what do you think of this?
I've got a great line.
There's an opening gambit.
He's done himself as if he's going on SNL and he's turned up at the funeral with like a couple of singers.
Patterson's on the drums.
Oh God, he would be as well. Briscoe far off in the corner there.
Kazoo.
Jesus Christ. See, I guess it works.
Hey.
That's what he's trying to do. Lighthearten the mood a bit.
Let us know your thoughts about it in the comments, I suppose.
Yes, absolutely. I guess that maybe would roll into perhaps what we're going to talk about next. And apparently, the morale, contrary to all popular belief, the morale in WWE is said to be quite high now. And this is coming from WrestlingNews.co, who have said that, is that .co? Have you sent me one with it should say .com, I assume?
.co, I think it's right.
Well, there you go. I just thought he spelled it wrong in the notes.
It's Andy Murray's doing it anyway,
which
really
Yeah, just blame him. The man who's not here, bless him. Basically, the morale is said to be high in WWE because AEW obviously got renewed on TNT, and that will be happening and renewed until 2023, I believe. So everyone in WWE, would you believe it, is jumping for joy because and everyone, you might be thinking, what's this? The competition's still alive. That's exactly why, because it means Vince has to pay them better money. It means he has to probably be nicer to them. And then on top of that, he has to also be a little bit more flexible when it comes to like scheduling the talent. Because let's be honest, AEW can offer you the same sort of money for a much less busy schedule with no real, like, as it stands, no real house shows or anything to do.
I can imagine, out of those three, the worst for Vince is definitely be nicer to people.
Like, on the board it says, like, pay better. He's like, okay, I've got enough money. It's like, be flexible with scheduling talent. I don't agree with that.
But there's lots of them.
Fine, there's loads of them. Be nice.
It's like MJF's 3 steps.
What is this? What is this word here? What is the word at the end there? The 4-letter word.
Yeah. Do I have to? Yes, Vince.
It's not being like your usual self. I don't like the sound of that.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a joke about The Rock's dead. Jesus Christ, man. But yeah, this is good, to be fair. In terms of the business, in terms of if you're a wrestler right now, your options have never been better, really. You can kind of play the two against each other. We've seen many people try to do it already. So good for the world of wrestling, especially good, I guess, for AEW, but also for the people who are sitting under WWE's roof right now.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this in the past, over the previous years, when WWE's had a monopoly on the whole industry. Yes, you had indie promotions, you had TNA, you had Ring of Honor, etc., etc., but it wasn't really a legitimate alternative. He kind of had you over a barrel, whereas now, yeah, he has to be careful, because as much as they have these ironclad contracts and they can just make people sit out for 3 years, once that comes to an end, and now they know that AEW, is going to be sticking around for, like you're saying, years to come, you better treat him well, Vince, I
better
suppose.
Be nice. Be
and
nice.
I don't know, maybe book good wrestling. He is doing that.
Hey, come on,
also.
come on. One step at a time there. Be nice is going to be hard. That's going to be 2020 altogether.
Right. The Royal Rumble's this weekend, you might not have noticed.
It is.
It's this Sunday. I can't wait for it. And there's some rumours coming from PW Insider about a possible return at the Royal Rumble in the women's division, because Naomi, former women's champion Naomi, will be in Houston this weekend, as reported, as I said, by PW Insider. She's expected to start working on SmackDown soon, and PW Insider themselves have a theory that she may well return in the Royal Rumble match. This is the sort of return I'm looking forward to in the Rumble. And they certainly need a lot more women. They've only announced like 5 people at the moment.
This is 4 last time.
Okay.
So unless there's
Naomi's been added in my book now.
Probably now, so that's it. Listen, I think Naomi's great. She's one of those wrestlers who obviously flies under the radar because she's not one of the 4 horsewomen. Essentially, that tends to be the case, unfortunately. I know we've seen a lot of other superstars getting a chance now, like the Kabuki Warriors and Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, those kind of folks. And of course, your best friends, the Iconics. But the thing is, Naomi's time off, obviously they took her off. I think it was because they associated her as part of the Usos. That was the story I remember we reported a little while ago. In their mind, taking them all off TV at once was easier. So her coming back is great. It means obviously well, it's good to see her getting a chance to come back. The Royal Rumble is the perfect place for it. And will we be seeing more of a Kofi Kingston-esque sort of acrobatics? She started taking that up, didn't she? She was balancing on things and using her fantastic athleticism. The last one, who knows, this could be... Could this be Naomi's year?
No.
Oh,
but this year, so potentially we could have Naomi, as you mentioned there, who's really athletic. We've got Katie Catanzaro, which she was back in the number 1 contenders battle royal last week on NXT. She'll be in the Royal Rumble for the women, I would imagine. And Kofi and John Morrison. Is it going to be who can top that game?
They basically all got their own parkour spot that's going on. And Kevin Owens now, who runs up the Tron. So if he's going to do that, you never know what he might do.
And let's not forget Ricochet, who, I don't know if you know this, but he's a real life superhero.
I've heard rumours. Jesus Christ. Moving on, not real life superheroes, but real life monsters. Lance Archer, who you may be familiar with from New Japan Pro Wrestling, recently had a fantastic match with Jon Moxley in which I was worried about Jon Moxley's general health, to be honest. Although saying that, Lance Archer did take a wicked bump through a table. So
is that when he busted himself wide open?
He slit his arm on the table. Anyway, that's completely not relevant, but not what we're talking about here. Lance Archer has obviously impressed a lot of people. His name is slowly but surely rising up to one that people are talking about quite frequently, and it seems one of those companies is AEW. And it's said that Archer is apparently in high-level talks with AEW. This comes from Sports Illustrated, because he obviously isn't under contract with New Japan, so technically he can float around wherever he wants. And obviously he's been putting enough of a good shift over in Japan. Now AEW are like, well, this is what we need.
No doubt Moxley probably put a good word in for him.
I would imagine, they looked like, in a weird way, they looked like they loved working together, because obviously they just pulverised the living hell out of each other, which was great for them, I'm sure. But I think more importantly, Lance Archer's the kind of guy, he's so big. And obviously we saw what even Jack Swagger, I was going to call him there. Even Jake Hager looks like in AEW. You got Luchasaurus. Imagine chucking Lance Archer in the mix. He's big, but
he's not
dinosaur big. Lance Archer would be a perfect guy to bring in there as another big heavy to sort of mix it up a bit.
Yeah, I think the right call there, getting Lance Archer. Both as a fit for AEW and as a fit for Lance Archer for me. Speaking of AEW, we had AEW Dynamite last night from the Jericho Cruise. It looked spectacular.
It really did.
And we have some news coming off the back of that. Kenny Omega and Hangman Page are the new AEW Tag Team Champions. basically all thanks to Hangman Page in reality. He
beat them both up, didn't
almost single-handedly at the end beat SCU, pinning them for those tag team titles. Also coming off the back of last night's show, MJF got thrown in the pool, which was brilliant stuff.
Yeah.
And Jon Moxley is the number one contender for Chris Jericho's AEW World Championship, beating Pac in the main event of last night's show. Right decision all round for both of those?
I think so. I mean, to be honest, you wouldn't have been dissatisfied, would you? Like, if obviously, I think Kenny and Hangman winning is definitely the right move. In terms of if you got Pac and Jericho, you wouldn't be upset. But obviously, I think Moxley is the one who's got all the momentum at the moment. It's the perfect fit for me. I'd even have him be the one who maybe dethrones Chris Jericho in the end. Whether it's now, whether it's down the line. I mean, come on. Of course it's him. It wasn't the only place, though, that we saw some gold changing hands last night. Adam Wilborn, was it? Because, and obviously, I was going to give them spoilers there, but I guess we're way too past that now. We have a brand new North American champion, and his name is Keith Lee. And we all basked in his glory last night as he managed to defeat Roderick Strong to become the new North American champion, which I know you weren't very excited about at all as you were watching it this morning, cramming it in. Oh, beautiful stuff. Fantastic, as always, NXT delivering another stellar episode. But that wasn't the only big news coming out of that. We also got the Broserweights, who are now going to be facing in the final of the Dusty Classics. They defeated, who was it they defeated? The Broserweight, why am I forgetting this? Imperium. The Broserweights defeated Imperium, and the Grizzled Young Vets defeated. Why are the other teams?
Undisputed Era.
Why?
It's because they're also doing all this stuff with them.
They're all doing it together. They're ready for Worlds Collide. My brain has just farted completely there. Terrible stuff. But yes, in the end, we've got the Broserweights and the Grizzled Young Vets who will be in the final of the Dusty Classic, and that will be taking place on next week's episode of NXT. A lot of people are confused as to why that's happening, but I think probably the right choice.
I mean, what a next few weeks for NXT. Crazy, You've got Worlds Collide on Saturday. You've got the final of the Dusty Cup, as we mentioned there, next week. You've got TakeOver Portland to come.
Yep.
And potentially their involvement in the Royal Rumble is one of the most fascinating aspects of it all.
It's all coming up if you're on the black and gold brand, I guess we're calling it these days.
Indeed. Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions at WhatCulture WWE. Of course, if you want to get in touch with us. First question comes from... Well, they've changed their name on Twitter. They are at a Geeky Gamer Guy, but they've changed their name to Twix or Kit Kat. We'll start with that.
Oh, don't do this to me. Right now. This is just for right now.
Just for right now?
Twix.
Yeah, Team Twix I'd go with. Anyway, Twix or Kit Kat asks, you have the top guy, the mid-card guy, the tag team. If you add a UFC fighter / big beefy boy to the mix, has Seth Rollins made the WWE's inner circle? I personally think this could be the yet another Big Show heel turn destination.
Oh, God. That's so right, isn't it?
Yeah.
They are missing a big guy. That's what they're missing, like a big, tall guy.
Yeah, they've got the big tag team.
The big powerhouse in the tag team who must have been looking on Monday Night Raw like, you what now?
We've got a tag team title shot, and it's going to be me and the other singles guy.
Me and the new guy versus... And you guys are going to be on there anyway. Who would I want to see? As in...
Yeah.
Oh, can we do dreams as if someone's can come from the UFC right now?
Oh, yeah, go on then.
Ooh, a big heavy. Now I'll put myself in a position I can't think of any big heavies off the top of my head.
I will go with Roy Big Country Nelson, because I want to see that man with his big old tummy battering some people. Or Stipe Miocic, because he's a badass.
Stipe is a good shot.
Or DC. Because he loves WWE.
He does love WWE, but he's not tall, is he?
No.
Well, they didn't mention tall, actually. I tell you what, then, if we're just picking anybody, I really don't like him. But Colby Covington would be the perfect person to slot in there as just the guy to hit. He would draw so much heat.
I was going to say, do you remember the bit in Family Guy where they get that ugly girl to stand next to Meg and they go, hey Meg, do you get less ugly? They stand Colby next to, Colby.
Yeah. Yeah, Colby.
Seth Rollins.
A double Colby.
And you go, Seth, did you get more likeable?
Yeah, they wouldn't let you. Said he wouldn't get more likeable, but he'd definitely get better heat. I know that for sure fact.
Right, second question comes today from Armando, who says, I thought Britt Baker's promo was one of the worst things I've seen in a while. Yeah, it wasn't great last night on Dynamite.
Did you know though?
Wait, give it a second.
Is
this officially rock bottom for AEW Women's Division? By the way, did you know she's a dentist? Thanks for that, Armando.
Oh my God! Right, we need to talk about this because last night. Look, I don't like just dumping on people because I think it defeats the point. Sometimes people are learning on the job. Britt Baker's promo last night, my word. All I'm going to say is it was so not good, trying to keep it positive.
Good.
That Jim Ross was like, yeah, we're just going to cut a commercial now. Like,
on a pre-tape show. So there's no scheduling of breaks, they just drop it in.
Just drop it in. They could have found a way to do this. Nope, sorry buddy, let's just cut straight to commercial because this runs way too long.
Yes, it is rock bottom for the women's division. They need to do some stuff. They've had these false starts. Obviously, Riho as champion is great. Chris Statlander competing against Riho is great. It's just everything else. The Nightmare Collective, the way they've booked it, Riho not being there all the time,
Yeah.
Chris Statlander, them having to reorganise the number one contenders match or the title match, I can't remember, because they messed up with Chris Statlander's indie dates.
Times and shad.
They just really need to take a long, hard look at it. Bring in some really impactful people because they are getting blown out of the water, which is ironic because they're in a boat, by NXT Women's Division. It's just an embarrassment of riches.
That's the thing. I think it's being emphasised more every week, especially like last week when we saw that Battle Royal and we were just all sitting in awe of what is potentially one of the best rosters, full stop, best divisions in wrestling at the moment. Never mind men or women, just across the board. The thing here is that even with a subpar tag division, NXT have managed to make you care about the Dusty Classic. They've managed to make that interesting. AEW need to figure out a way to do that. Whether it's limited resources or whatever it is, they need to sort that out because this is starting to get a bit of a problem.
Nick Van Haver gives us our final question of the day, saying, how do you guys think Cody Rhodes will eventually get another shot at the AEW Heavyweight Championship? Will it be after an eventual heel turn and a corporate Cody, or will Tony Khan award him with one down the road?
I think somewhere along the way, I'm assuming, let's just assume Jericho is still the champ or something like that, and he ends up feuding with Jericho, or maybe feuding with MJF. MJF ends up, it could be, I hope it takes a while, put it that way, but somewhere on the line, I would imagine someone might want to have a match with him so bad, and he's like, well, tell you what, if I put it on the line, if they've got the shot, let's not that they win the Rumble, there's no, but they've got the shot, and he says, all right, you want to face me, put your shot on the line. And that's his way back to it, I think.
Or they, like you say, they're so desperate to face him, or he's so desperate to get back into the title picture for whatever reason, because he's just gone on a tear and he's far and away got the best win-loss record. He has a match where maybe it's like Cody gets one more title shot, or Cody is just gone from AEW completely. He
has to put some collateral up against it, I guess, which is worse than not getting the shot.
Let's move on to today's, and finally, and a big shout out to WWE on BT Sport for sharing this yesterday and popping us all in the office. They tweeted, just going to leave this here, and there he is, Roman Reigns.
Of course.
We've all probably seen this before.
We've definitely seen this before.
But good to see he was working on his early on. Do you have ever any wrestler cutouts in your room?
I've never in my life had a cutout in my room. However, I did have a mate who was, like, when I took time off watching wrestling, he stayed with it. And I remember going out to his house once, and he bought it for the pop. I turned up to his house, and he had a life-size cutout of Shawn Michaels just in his room, obviously the Heartbreak Kid, only to be bested when he opened the cupboard, and he had one of the Undertaker in the cupboard as well. A second pop, couldn't believe it. Very good stuff, Robbie Black, wherever you are, fantastic.
Let us know the cardboard cutout wrestlers you've had in your room. Keep it clean in the comments. I regretted asking that as soon as I said it.
Immediate mistake, man.
But yes, let us know your thoughts on that and all of today's news stories in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. Myself and the Dadley Boys will be reviewing the Wednesday Night War a little bit later on today. Plus, let us know your thoughts and Twitter questions on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE. Whilst you're there, follow both of us. You can follow him at...
It's Adam Nicholas. You can follow him at...
Adam Wilborn. Follow us all at WhatCultureWWE. As I said, my thanks to Adam Nicholas. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.